Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a brand new video. Today is Wednesday. Week feels a bit off because we had a bank holiday Monday. But my last vlog you would have seen was yesterday. So we're carrying on with another new vlog. I think I'm going to take this one over the next few days. This morning we went to a hospital appointment for Avery. She has been fitted for new splints for her ankles because she's grown out of hers, and her last ones were fitted in February, so she's grown quite a bit since then. And she's also been fitted for some custom gaiters. A little while ago I mentioned that we went to an orthopedics appointment in Bristol, and along with some Botox, they've recommended that she get custom gaiters for her legs, in particular for her left leg, because her hamstring is quite tight and she can't fully stretch out that leg. So the gaiters have been made, or are being made, so that the right leg is straight, but then the left leg will have a slight bend just because she can't fully straighten it out. So he said he's measured it, and then he'll probably make it just slightly tighter so she will get a little bit of a stretch but not fully straightened. So it shouldn't hurt her, but it should be helping that leg get a bit of a stretch when she wears them. I remember seeing somewhere, I think it was in the letter, that the orthopedics want her to wear them at night. So I don't know how that's going to go down, especially now that she's got the sleep system, but fingers crossed I can get them on her maybe when she's asleep, and then yeah, that should hopefully help her leg some. Also popped into town really quickly, had a couple of things to pick up. I actually picked up a new fragrance oil for my new oil diffuser from the White Company. I treated myself to the winter scent because that one to me smells most like winter and Christmas. I really want the fireside one for autumn because I smelt the candle in store and it was really smoky but sweet at the same time. It smelled really nice for autumn, but they didn't have any of the fragrance oils in stock, but apparently they will be coming back into stock, so I've just got to keep checking. But for now I picked up the winter one so that I've got that ready for winter, and I'm really excited to use it. And I think the nice thing as well is because, you know, it's not something I use every single day, even though I probably should because it would make my house smell nice. It's not something I use every day, so I feel like the oils might even last me more than 1 year if I rotate them, because you don't really need a lot. Anyway, plan for today. Boys are currently having their lunch. Avery has just had her feed. Before I get Avery in her stander, and I would also like to do a bit of sit to stand practice with her today, before we do that, I think we are going to go pick some apples. We have got a couple of really big apple trees in our garden, and one of the things on our summer holidays bucket list was to pick apples from the apple tree and make an apple pie. However, my next door neighbour, who is also my landlady's dad, came over earlier, and he said that the last tenants that lived here, the kids sold the apples. They actually put the apples on the front of the drive and sold them. So I've said to the boys, let's just pick all the apples and see if they can make a little bit of pocket money. Thought that would be a really nice idea. I mean, to be honest, a lot of them I think have kind of like bug bites in them and stuff, so we won't be able to use those ones, but I'll see what we can get. There are the apple trees just out there. Lovely red rosy apples. So they are the kind of apples that you can eat. They don't have to be cooked, but there's quite a few of them, so I'm going to see which ones are actually good and see how many we can get. I also had a phone call yesterday evening from Zach and Avery's paediatrician. They both have the same paediatrician. A while ago, we're talking a while ago, like maybe a couple of years ago, Zach was supposed to have a test because he had a muscle biopsy, and they diagnosed him with non-specific congenital myopathy, but they said it's not the reason why he has elevated creatine kinase in his blood. So this is all the tests that Zach has in terms of the medical side, and not so much the autism side. It's all stemmed from him having elevated CK in his blood, and they've never been able to figure out why. So this muscle biopsy, he was diagnosed with this condition because his biopsy wasn't necessarily normal. However, they don't think that's what's causing the elevated creatine kinase. So they decided they were going to do another genetics test, but this one was going to be much more specific. They were going to put a panel on it, I think that's how they described it, to do with muscular disorders. So it was going to be looking for anything genetic, anything in the genomes that could potentially indicate some kind of muscular disorder. They took his blood years ago. Turns out they never did the test. test. The paediatrician said there must have been a form that wasn't filled out properly and it just kind of went stagnant. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a bit frustrated because this happened before. Zach fell off the kind of specialist radar for a really long time, and it took for me to call them to kind of start it back up again, and basically they just forgot about him, and it kind of looks like it's happened again, which is really annoying. But luckily he doesn't have to have any more blood work. They've still got his blood stored in the labs, so as long as that blood is still good, they don't need to do it again, and they can just test that blood. So I had to kind of go through all of the permissions and make sure I was okay with everything. We may find nothing, we may find something, we may find a missing puzzle piece, or we may find something that we weren't aware of, we don't know, but they're going to do the test now, so that's good. So that kind of came out of the blue, to be honest. I thought all of Zach's kind of tests were going to be put to bed for a while, just because he's not symptomatic and they've not been able to find anything. But I do think this is probably the last test he's going to have until they just decide, look, it's something, but we don't know what. Maybe in a few years time, when medicine develops a little bit, we may know more, but for now we don't know. As long as he's not symptomatic, we don't need to worry. Same with his community paediatrician. They've kind of discharged him from clinic. However, he's still under them in the sense that if I have any concerns, I can still reach out and he can be seen. And I think she has done that. His paediatrician has kind of put that in place until he's 16, because she says that sometimes things change through puberty. So it'd be good to kind of get through the majority of that before we decide to completely sign him off. But things I need to look out for really: tiredness, weak muscles, anything that could indicate that his muscles aren't working as they should. And so far he's pretty good. He doesn't really have any symptoms of any kind of muscular disorder. The only thing I do notice is if he does things that are strenuous, like if he's been jumping on a trampoline, he might complain later that day that his legs are a bit sore, and when he was swimming in Spain he complained that his arms are a bit sore. So that's the only things I notice, but that's not enough of a concern to feel like it could be something wrong. That just could be tired muscles from exercising. So just keeping an eye on it. May never come to anything. He may be asymptomatic for the rest of his life, is kind of what I'm hoping for, but we do know that there is something there that is slightly abnormal, so we still have to keep an eye. But anyway, enough of my rambling. I'm gonna wait for the boys to finish their lunch. I'm gonna go and do a bit of tummy time with Avery, I think, while they finish their lunch, and then we're gonna head outside before it rains and pick some apples. Morning guys, it is the next day. I am just about to start peeling these apples because we're going to make our apple pie. We got quite a lot actually. We got a pretty decent basket. The boys did put them outside yesterday. Sadly no one actually bought them, which I kind of expected, but when Josh got home he put 30p in the pot to make it look as though someone had bought some for them. But that's fine. We've got a ton of apples. I know that the boys enjoy eating them, so they shouldn't go to waste. I think if we'd have left them out there any longer, we wouldn't have been able to get any that didn't have like bug bites in them, because a lot of them had been kind of infested with bugs and stuff, which was a bit gross, but we managed to get some. Anyway, I'm cheating with this pie. I'm using ready-made pastry, because making pastry is a bit of a ball ache, especially when you don't have a food processor, which I don't. So I'm cheating and I don't feel guilty about it one bit. So my mum popped over this morning because bless her, well technically my dad's car broke down last night, so she's borrowing one of our cars for a little bit. So she popped over this morning to pick that up, and she bought me this little headband. I'm not so sure if it suits me, but it's keeping the hair out of my face. So she said she thought of me when she saw the colour, because I like beige. So yeah, gonna peel and cut these apples, and then I think I'm gonna get the boys in to help me if they want to. I want to have a bit of a baking day today because my family is coming over tomorrow. My brother and his family are down from up country. They are going to come and see me and the kids before they go home. So I'd like to do a little bit of baking, have some baking out for when they come. I'm thinking, I'm making the apple pie, but to be honest, not a lot of people in my family like apple pie. But I thought if there's any left over tomorrow, I'm going to send it home with my mum, because my dad loves apple pie. And I haven't made my dad apple pie in years, so I think he will appreciate that. I don't think Zach likes apple pie. I think Eli will probably try it. I know my brother doesn't like it. I don't like it. So yeah, but my dad will enjoy whatever is left over. And then I think I am going to make some cookies. When Josh went to Wales, my niece wasn't well the week before. So to cheer her up, I made her some cookies, and they turned out really, really well. So I'm going to try and follow the same method that I did. I'm going to make a different kind of cookie. I sent back chocolate M&M cookies. So I think this time I'm just going to make maybe a chocolate chip cookie with some nuts in it, because I really like nuts in any kind of baking really. So yeah, I'm going to make that, and then with whatever pastry is left over, I might try and make something with the pastry that isn't apple related. I don't know, I'll see what I can do with it, but for now, just prepping all the apples. I've got no idea how many I'm going to need. I'm using a cake tin because that's all I've got. It's quite big. I'm probably not going to need that many apples though, but we have apples to waste. Right, so we have got about 25-ish, maybe even a bit less, grams of butter in this pan.
Isn't it melting?
Yeah, I'm going to melt it, and we're going to put all of these apples in. Do you guys want to help?
Yeah.
Right, careful. So Eli, just watch the fire under the pan and just spread them in like this.
Oh,
that's it.
Frozen.
Okay.
Now do we just wait?
No, not quite. So now all that's in there, mixing in with the butter. We're going to put in 100 grams of caster sugar, Zach.
That's my job.
So spread it all over, just try not to get it outside the pan. Okay.
Spreading sugar.
This is going to make these apples nice and sweet and a little bit caramelised.
Caramelised.
And then...
And Mummy, are we going to put like 3 little chopped up apples on the top, like apple pies in films?
You mean like pastry apple?
Yeah.
I don't know, we'll see.
The ones that go on top.
Okay, and now we're going to add 1 teaspoon of cinnamon.
My turn.
Yeah, so let me
Then it's
just...
my turn. No,
Right,
this one's mine.
your turn.
Then it's my turn.
Eli's turn.
I said then it's my turn.
Okay, Eli? Got that? Oh, trying to get the right amount.
This is going to be the weirdest apple. Well, weirdest apples I have
Got that
seen.
much cinnamon. That's it. Gently mix it. Gently, just need to fold it all together so that they all mix in. Okay, so now what we do, we've got to wait for all of this liquid in the bottom to evaporate. And by then, these apples should be a little bit soft.
A little soft.
Yeah.
And melt into like a...
They won't melt, we want them to stay as apple pieces. They'll be a tiny little bit soft. We just want all this liquid to go away. And then we can sort the pastry out and pop it all in the pastry and then go in the oven.
So we're doing something else. What's we waiting for?
Nope, we're just going to leave that because then while we're sorting the pastry out we can leave that to cool. Okay? Our apples are soft and cooling and I've got our sheet of pastry here, but this is our pan. And
pan.
Yeah, this is slightly too small to fit this pan, so we need to make it bigger by rolling it out just a little bit. We don't want to make it too thin because then the pastry will rip. So Zach, really gently, do you want to start rolling this way?
That's a bit bigger now.
Really gently.
No, roll it.
Try and press the middle of the rolling pin as well, otherwise all your pressure is going to go to the edges. Okay, good. Eli, do you want to give it a go?
Yeah.
Right, okay. So, now what I'm going to do, pick up the pastry.
And stab it with a knife.
I actually pick it up on the rolling pin like that. Okay.
That's one hell of pastry.
And we're going to
That's one hell of
lay it over the top like that, okay? Now,
Do we fold
what
it
I'm
in?
going to do, because what we don't want to do,
Is break it.
yes. Exactly.
That's one paste of a trick. Pastry looks yummy.
Okay, yeah, pastry might look yummy, but it would not taste very nice raw. So now that we've got that, we're going to get our apples.
That is a bit
They
soft.
are lovely and soft.
I pasta.
And they smell nice. I did add a little bit of flour just to thicken it all up. So, Zach, do you want to start scooping them in?
I will start scooping all of them in. Not all of them, I
Careful,
want
I'll try not to get it outside the tin.
Make sure they don't. These apples.
Right, Eli, do you want to have a go?
I just started.
Okay, we're doing a little bit each.
Well, you're gonna take bigger scoops then. One. I only did 2.
Careful.
Careful.
Do you know what, boys? I think we might have been able to fit more apples in here. No, do you know what? I think we should add more apples.
Well, we already cooked them.
Yeah, I can cook some more. I'm going to cook up some more apples to make this a nice full apple pie, because at the minute there's going to be a lot of pastry and not a lot of apple, okay?
Yeah, there's a good point there.
Okay? Right, okay. Now the apple pie is full. Right, so, oops, we've lost a little bit there. Now what we're going to do, look, I'm going to pop, well actually, first thing we need to do is put a little bit of egg wash on the sides. So like this, take a little bit of the egg wash.
Okay.
Hang on.
What is it?
And then you just spreading it on the side just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Right, so Zach, you give it a go. Just spread it on the sides.
I asked that.
Just on the sides. That's it. That's it.
I got some with me. Yeah, lick it.
No, don't lick it, it's raw red. Okay, now I'm going to
do the same thing she did earlier with this pastry. No, she didn't put it on the top.
Well,
yeah, that's very
but
different.
I'm going to do it the same way. Okay.
Yeah, put it on the top. Hold on, but there's supposed to be a circle. Oh, you're just going to use scissors, aren't you?
Yeah, we'll cut it out.
Genius, am I?
Now, we're going to just take the fork.
Whoa. Baby.
And we're just going to put a fork print. So you do it along here.
Yes,
Try and make it nice and neat. It's where I've put mine.
and Mummy, isn't it my turn?
So it doesn't really matter, you'll both get a turn. Now what we're going to do, not much, a tiny bit of egg, and just going to dust it very lightly
on
the top.
No.
You can both get a turn, don't worry. Lightly, Zach.
You get this quarter, I'll get
Okay, it's okay.
I'm gonna like doing. Do it fast and do it light. Okay.
Here is what the pie is looking like, all ready to go in the oven. The boys are driving me absolutely batty today.
Bonkers.
But let's pop this pie in the oven. Finally having a chance to sit down and take a minute. Tell you what guys, I cannot wait for next week. I'm looking forward to not having to find ways to entertain the boys. It's been a nice summer holidays though. I feel like having that bucket list at the start has really helped us just do more. It's helped encourage us to do more together. I say us, I mean me, because it's me that needs the encouragement to actually actively do things fun with the boys, I suppose, because it's easy to just carry on with your normal day-to-day routine, but that's just no fun for the boys. So quite happy with what we've been able to do. Little madam is a bit tired. We made a bit of a med switch last night. So as you guys know, Avery is on levetiracetam. I'm hoping that she won't need to be on that one for too much longer, because we feel as though it may have served its purpose now, and we're kind of looking at alternatives for seizure medication, but we're still using it for now. And the brand that we've been using the Crescent brand, not Keppra, and I know that Keppra is more widely available. We've always had a struggle getting hold of that brand, and we've always managed to get it in the end because we've always been told not to switch brands. However, we've now been told that they're going to stop supplying the Crescent brand to us, and we need to make the switch. We were really reluctant to do this, and we dug our heels in for quite a long time, but it's come to the point now where they've said you're not going to be able to get it anymore, you need to make the switch. So We've been told to do a straight switch, which is what we did. We switched last night. I know that Kepra seems to have links to angry behaviour and just being unhappy in general, and I'm really hoping that's not going to be the case with Avery. She's a bit grumpy and tired today, but I'm not just going to say, oh, it was because we switched it last night. She was happy enough this morning. So yeah, let's see how that goes. But like I said, I'm really hoping that that med will be one that gets weaned out of her system in the not too far future, because she's on the topiramate now, and the levetiracetam wasn't stopping the breakthrough seizures. Anyway, I changed little madam's sleep system into side lying last night, or yesterday, into a side lying setup, and last night she slept side lying for the very first time. It was really sweet being able to actually see her face and stuff on the monitor. I think I could probably insert maybe a little screenshot of what the monitor looks like with her side lying. We could see her whole face instead of just being able to see the side of it, which was quite nice. The worry is because of her, oh, here goes the pump again. The worry is because of Avery's dystonia, she cranes her neck, and she cranes it so that she pushes her face down into the sheet. That is a little bit scary to watch because obviously she's covering her nose, but we've been assured that the top sheet is 100% breathable. So even if she did do that, she should be able to breathe through it. And looking through the kind of alerts on my baby monitor last night, it looks as though she did it quite a few times in the night, but brought her head back up, and her alarm didn't go off once, her SATS monitor, which means her oxygen levels didn't dip. So that is good. So we're going to continue to do that, see how that goes. We may switch it back. We may just do a combination of both, kind of back lying and side lying. She slept very well last night though, I will say. Another thing, my baby monitor, our baby monitor camera, keeps disconnecting from my phone, which means I think we may have to buy a new camera, which isn't a big deal or anything. And to be fair, we've used that camera every single night, all night. It's been on pretty much 24 hours a day for the last nearly year and a half, 2 years, so it has definitely served us well, and I will probably just get exactly the same camera. I've tried using my iPad throughout the night, but it's the same thing. The connection gets lost through the night, and I wake up and I can't see kind of the live cam of Avery. I can just see the picture of wherever it stopped, which is a bit concerning. I don't like not being able to wake up and see exactly what she's doing. Plus I like having the extra sound of the SATS monitor coming through on the baby camera as well. So I'm gonna probably just get another camera. I'm not gonna throw the old one away because it does still work, it just cuts out. What I might do is put that camera in a way that it is directly on the SATS monitor, so we can also see her numbers as well as her. I'm not 100% sure if you can do split screen on this app. I hope you can, because that would be quite handy. Side lying went well last night. What are you doing? Are you trying to eat it? She's gotten into the habit of just wanting to nom on everything at the moment. I think she's got kind of her last few teeth coming through. She does have a bit of overgrowth of gums. I explained this in a video a couple of weeks ago, but I don't think it's teething as such. I honestly think it's her just trying to explore more, because she's been making a lot more kind of like open and closed mouth gestures, and whenever she kind of sees a toy, she goes straight for it, like she wants to eat it. Like she brings her head to it and she kind of goes like she's trying to eat it, and when we bring it to her mouth, she'll kind of stick her tongue out a little bit and then move away, but she's quite content with it, as though that's what she wanted. She just wanted to explore with her face, which isn't surprising because she can't use her arms and hands as well as I'm sure she'd like to. She is just exploring new ways of experiencing things, which is really nice. Anyway, my toast has probably gone stone cold now, so I've got my my jam on toast. I have also got a nice cup of tea to sit and enjoy while I feed little Missy. She's quite tired. She will probably want to go for a nap after this feed. Apple pie is done and out the oven. I will show you that in a bit. It smells and looks really good. It's such a shame that I don't like apple pie, because I feel like I should like it based on the fact that I like the smell and the look, but I can't stand the taste of cooked fruit. So I'm gonna feed little madam. Plans for the rest of the day, I want to continue to get the baking done. I've kind of prepped some other bakes which you would have seen. Need to get Avery in her stander, maybe do a bit more sit to stand again because she did well with that yesterday. Oh, steady on, Pudding, steady on. She does this, she throws her head forward. I think it's her just trying to lift her head, but she just doesn't have the control to keep it up. She just flings it forward. Oh yeah, Avery rolled again yesterday. She stopped rolling for a while, which was quite sad. I think it could have been due to her just weaning onto this new med and being a little bit weaker, but she rolled again yesterday, which gives me a lot of hope that she's gonna start doing that again, which is really nice. We did some tummy time yesterday as well, didn't we? And yeah, I also need to pop to the school today before 3 o'clock to pick up Eli's tie, because now that Eli's going into Key Stage 2, he has to wear a button-down shirt and tie like Zach does. So they'll be matching again. It was quite odd having those few months where they wore different school uniforms, because I've never had that. They've always been in the same. But yeah, I need to do that. And generally just want to try and get the house clean. I might do that tomorrow morning, to be honest, ready for my family to come over. Quite looking forward to that. Hey? You're going to get lots and lots of cuddles from your uncle and auntie. Hey? And all your cousins. But it's nice having a big family. Lots and lots of love, lots of cuddles. Pretty good day for baking, I would say. I've still got some cookies in the oven. These ones were my tester ones. A little bit hard. I'm sure the boys will still enjoy eating those. I think they were slightly overdone and maybe not quite as cold when they went in. Pie looks pretty decent, but I won't know until someone tries it whether it's got a soggy bottom or not. And then these are just what I made with the leftover pastry. I can't remember what they're called. Panniers, something like that. But I basically just put some brown sugar and some caster sugar into or on top of pastry, and then rolled it up, cut it up and popped it in the oven, and they turned out alright. I tried to make these a few weeks ago, but I overdid them, so at least I didn't do that this time. Still quite a mess on the countertop though, don't mind that. I've still got to clean up after myself, but quite happy with the baking today. Oh, your hair is stuck in my earring. Ow, 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 ow. Oh, no, there we go. Okay. Morning, guys. I am just waiting for my family to arrive. I spent a little bit of time cleaning the house this morning, didn't I, Pud? Avery's a bit tired. I feel like I must say that to you quite often at the moment, because she just seems a little bit more tired than usual. Again, I'm still putting it down to the med at this point. I think we need to give her body just a little bit more time to get used to it. So, Avery had a physio appointment yesterday, and I just wanted to talk about the conversation that the physio and I had, because we had, I want to say, quite a powerful conversation. It's definitely affected me. Not, you know, not that makes it sound as though I'm complaining about the physio, not in that way, but it was quite a powerful, meaningful conversation. And Avery's physio is quite a realist. She has always been very straightforward and realistic with me, which I've always appreciated, because I find that a lot of medical professionals will kind of pussyfoot around things and sugarcoat things, and sometimes I just want to know the facts and, you know, the likelihood of things. So The conversation started out talking about her leg. So as you guys know, her left leg she's been struggling with. It is getting tighter and tighter, and I said to the physio I thought it was getting worse, and she agreed that she thinks it is getting worse. And I said to her, you know, I've been massaging it, we've been stretching it, she's been going in her stander, and she said to me, the thing is, it doesn't really matter, you know, what you're doing. You know, you can be doing things to kind of help delay the effects, but because of her cerebral palsy, this is going to happen. It's inevitable, and it's the same with any other conditions or, you know, areas in her body that become weaker or, you know, become higher in tone, and then she may need equipment for. It's the same as those things. She said, you know, don't beat yourself up if something happens. If, you know, her leg gets tight or her hands get tight, it's nothing that you're doing, it's going to happen. And then she kind of went on to say, you know, with cerebral palsy, all the things that we do, you know, the Botox and the medication and the therapies, really all we're trying to do is delay the inevitable. And that kind of really hit home for me, because I've never heard anyone explain it that way. And I like to think of myself as a realistic person. You know, of course I hope and I pray and I wish every single day that Avery will be able to walk and talk one day, but the realist in me just tries to keep it in the back of my mind that actually the probability for Avery, given the severity of her conditions, is that she won't. And you know, I knew that and I'm prepared for that, but that doesn't mean that I'm not hopeful. Now, I know that there are a lot of people that only want to focus on the potential positive outcomes and the power of prayer and the power of faith, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all. You know, in some ways I envy the kind of people that can just be faithful and just be positive and just be hopeful. I mean, if you are that kind of person and, you know, maybe you don't want to listen to my point of view, then that is absolutely fine. Just, you know, as a little bit of a disclaimer / trigger warning, if that's not for you, then by all means skip ahead or click out. But I like to be realistic, and, you know, I like to prepare myself for if what I hope for doesn't happen. Now, this is also the first conversation I've ever had with a medical professional where they have told me Avery's grades / levels. We always knew that Avery's brain injury was severe. We were told that from the MRI, and we kind of just figured that she was more on the severe end in terms of her cerebral palsy, because cerebral palsy, according to the physio, is kind of measured in levels 1 to 5. 1 being, you know, very mildly affected, 5 being the whole body is affected and it is quite severe. Avery's physio said that in terms of HIE, now I said to her, I think HIE is levels 1 to 3. Correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong. No doctor has ever spoken to us about it in terms of levels, they've just said it's severe. But if it was levels 1 to 3, again, I'm not sure, it could be 1 to 5 like with cerebral palsy, but if it was 1 to 3, she said Avery would be a level 3. You know, 3 being the severe, and in terms of cerebral palsy, she is a level 5. That, you know, that gives her much less of a chance of walking and, you know, being more physical than someone who has, say, level 3 cerebral palsy. Now, as much as, you know, we kind of figured that, it's the first time someone's ever actually said it to us in black and white. And I don't know, everything that she said, it's put me in two minds. In one sense, you know, I feel a little bit sad, even though I already knew. It's strange because I already knew. I feel a little bit sad in knowing that Avery's probabilities are slim when it comes to doing physical things like walking, maybe even talking. In the other sense, I feel a little bit of relief. I feel like when she spoke to me, there was a big kind of a big chunk of mum guilt that kind of just washed away from me, because what she was saying is, even though you may be trying your best, don't beat yourself up if it doesn't, you know, it doesn't help what you're trying to help. That doesn't mean you're not trying hard enough. It's just what is going to happen whether you know, whether you try or not. And eventually all of these things are going to happen. And you know, cerebral palsy is a lifelong condition. We're fully aware that it's not curable, but you hear of these children, these miracle children that, you know, are given such a poor prognosis, and you know, they go on to walk and talk and do all the things that doctors say they would never be able to do. And there's always been a part of me, and I know that Josh thinks like that as well, there's always been a part of me that's, you know, prayed that Avery was going to be one of these miracle children. But she's getting older now, and it's kind of getting to the point where we just need to face reality that, you know, she probably won't walk, and she is always going to be severe, in which case our job as parents, I mean, don't get me wrong, we're going to continue with the therapies, because at the end of the day, if we can delay, you know, these things that are happening to her body, if we can delay them, and you know, delay them for a long time, that's always going to be good. So by these things, I mean things like hip dysplasia and, you know, shortening of the bones because of spasticity and scoliosis, things like this. If we can delay them for as long as possible, that's great. And who knows, we may be able to always prevent them. But the likelihood is those kind of things are coming our way unless we try our very hardest to essentially keep her body straight, which is really, really difficult because Avery doesn't like her equipment, and because of her poor tone, her body tends to slump to one side, which puts more pressure on one side of her body, which is kind of where a lot of these conditions come from, and curvature of the spine and so on and so forth. And me and the physio talked a lot about kind of the balance, and I've spoken a little bit about this on my channel before, and it's the balance of doing all these things to keep Avery's body straight, to keep her developing, to keep her, you know, to keep her bones good and her muscles good, doing all of these things versus keeping her happy and giving her a good quality of life. Because there's kind of two, I'd say there's two, you know, two different sections to quality of life. One of them, and you know what, I'm not even going to put too much preface on it, because one of them is ability and, you know, the things that you can do, and independence, and the other one is happiness. And personally, I think happiness outweighs ability. You know, some people may disagree with me, but that is just my personal opinion. And given everything that she said to me, I said to the physio, all I want for Avery, being completely realistic, you know, I'm still going to hope and pray that, you know, she does all of these big milestones like walk and talk, but all I really want, I will be happy if Avery, as she gets older, will have some level of independence and she is able to communicate with us, whether that looks like typical communication or whether it looks a little bit different for Avery, that's fine, as long as there is a way for her to communicate her needs with us, and if she has some level of independence. Now, independence may look like Avery being able to zoom herself around in a motorized wheelchair and having a house that is adapted so that she can be independent in it. So it's not all to do with things that, you know, Avery can do, it's about what we can give her, what we can get for her, what we can do for her. So wider door frames, for example, and, you know, maybe a downstairs bedroom so that she doesn't need to ask to be lifted into a stair lift if she wants to go upstairs to her room. I want her to be able to be independent and be able to move about her own home freely and independently. That is my goal for Avery, my, you know, being honest with myself, my realistic goal for Avery, because I think independence plays a massive part in quality of life. And I know that there are some children that are completely dependent, or not children, just adults as well. There are some people that are completely dependent and still have a very good quality of life. They're still very happy. And Avery's physio said, you know, I've seen so many children that are so reliant, so dependent, but they are still very happy. They have a very good life, and that gave me a lot of hope. In terms of communication, we talked a little bit about kind of the brain injury and obviously brain receptors and movements. She said Avery is so aware. I can tell that she's very aware and she takes a lot in. The thing is with brain injuries, and this is any brain injury, not just, you know, HIE, and not necessarily brain injuries, but conditions of the brain as well. How frustrating must it be to know what you want to do in your head, to know how to do it in your head, but your body won't let you. So say for example, I want to pick up my phone, I know how to do it, I know what I need to do, but my brain will not send the message to my hand to do it. Now, Avery's young. Her brain injury happened at 3 days old, and I know that an awful lot of children with HIE, the brain injury happened at birth, or during birth, or shortly after birth. So imagine not only, you know, not being able to do what you want and what you know how to do, also knowing what you want to do, but you've never built the skills, you've never built those connections and neurons in the brain to know how to do it. So say for example, Avery wants to take my hand. Not only has she got the frustration of her brain not sending that message to her hand, she also has the frustration of not knowing how to do it because she's not learnt it yet. Children, you know, babies, they have to learn these things before they know how to do them, and she didn't get that chance to learn with a healthy brain. So she is, I hope this makes sense, she's learning how to do things on top of a brain injury, which means she's got to then find different pathways because the ones she was supposed to follow were damaged. Really, baby girl. In that sense it makes me sad, but then I also think because Avery's brain injury happened so young, she doesn't know any different. So I hope in my heart that that means that she won't feel like she's missing out on anything. That is what I hope, and that is what I pray for. And sometimes I feel like the journey is more painful for the parents, for the caregivers, than the children, because you know what they're missing out on, you know what they can't have, but they don't. So I really hope that she never feels like she misses out on anything, and then it's just our job as her parents, mine and Josh's, to make sure that we find different ways for her to experience the same things as other children and her peers, and that will always come in the form of accessibility and equipment and obviously a whole lot of love and care as well. But yeah, I wanted to talk about it because ever since yesterday it's kind of just been ticking on my mind. Avery's physio also thinks that she could benefit from a pair of splints for her hands because she's also noticed that her hands are starting to deviate, and it's these things that are inevitable. They're the things that we're never going to be able to stop from happening, but through therapy and medicine and Botox we can try to delay it. And you know, the longer we delay it, the more chance Avery has at, you know, developing, because the development really happens in these early years. And we talked about this as well because we touched upon her dystonia a little bit, and how HIE and dystonia in terms of kind of medicine, it's still quite new, and it's a shame. It's such a shame that we can't just look at our babies when they're brand new, if they have HIE, and think, right, I know exactly what will work for this child. Sadly, that isn't the case. I mean, we are 2.5 years in and we still haven't figured out how to manage the dystonia fully. And the reason why that's such a shame is because now is the time that she could benefit the most from development. Now is the time that she's developing most rapidly. So it's a terrible catch-22, because Avery needs that dystonia managed so that she can develop, because now is her developmental time. Now is the time where she would develop the most rapidly, but we have to spend this time figuring out how to manage her dystonia. So it's a horrible catch-22. Anyway, so I'm just going to check out the window. No one's here yet. I thought I heard a car. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about it. It's been on my mind, it's on my chest, and I don't know, I feel like I can talk to you guys and you will understand. And even if you don't or you can't, then I know that there are a lot of you that will just listen and let me rant. But I tell you, it's so difficult to keep Avery straight when she's dystonic, though, that's the thing. But now I'm so conscious to try and keep her body straight. But yeah, I think I am going to close this vlog off here, cheer myself up a bit by spending time with my family, and yeah, I'll catch you in a few days. Make sure you are subscribed to follow along on our journey, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye guys.